Hi, I'm so excited to join you all today. My name is Lakeisha Mosley. I am the owner and the event producer of the LM Experience, which is an event management firm. I'm based in Houston, but I do events all over. So I'm super excited to talk to you today about a new craze that is going on, but it's not super new, called virtual events. And I want to talk to you about virtual events because now we're at a place where we can't really congregate as we should, as we could, and that we have to practice social distancing. But just because we're social distancing doesn't mean that your business has to suffer because of that. So I want to talk to you about what virtual events are, why they're important to your brand, how to grow your brand's visibility with them, and how you can monetize on virtual events. So I first want to start off with what are virtual events? So in a nutshell, they're just an internet gathering that we do over a computer, over a laptop, over a cell phone, or even a tablet. They are just basically where you can bring your audience together and you can either educate them, you can inform them of something, or you can just give them information that you think that they may need. Virtual events are super important because they actually give your brand the visibility that they need. They keep you in front of your audience, but because they are virtual, you can actually tap into a different audience that you may not know of. So, for instance, say that your main audience is, say, planners, event planners like myself. But now with a virtual event, you can bring on other people who that you may not tap into. So, say, dance instructors or artists or things like that, where you're giving information about a certain aspect of your business that they may be interested in. Now your brand is growing, you're getting in front of a different audience. People know who you are and they know who your brand is. It also allows you to bring people all together in one place at one time. Think about when you have an in-person event, you have to kind of segregate folks based off of, say, VIP or platinum. Now everybody gets the best seat in the house because with a virtual event, everyone has a front row seat. They get to see you front and center, and they get to get all of the information at one time from you or even the guests that you bring on. They're also important because they allow you to create content that you can repurpose later on. Keep in mind, we don't want to keep recreating the wheel when we're doing certain things in our business. So you can actually use the information that you give in a virtual event, repurpose it for a blog. You can repurpose it as a teaching tool later on where you can break it up and you can put it in a site such as Teachable or Thinkific. Things like that is one of the main reasons why I love virtual events and why I think that they are super, super important. But the main reason is they help grow your brand visibility. So before I jump over to the brand visibility part, I want to talk a little bit about how you create a virtual event because they can be sort of easy, but there are some things that you should consider when you're thinking about creating a virtual event. So think about why you're organizing this particular event. Is it to educate, again, as discussed previously? Or is it to talk about a product that you're getting ready to launch, a teaching that you want to get ready to launch? Or are you launching your business and you want to let people know about it? Think about why you want to do your event. You would definitely want to seek out assistance of a professional event planner as myself to make sure that your event has the elements that it still needs. Keep in mind, although it's virtual, it still needs some of the same elements that an in-person event would need. There are distractions when people are at home. There are babies crying. We've turned our living rooms and our dining rooms into offices now. So there's a lot that could be going on at any given time. So you want to create your event to where it's spectacular, that it's going to keep people's attention, and it's going to keep them engaged. That is the main thing that you want to do, is keep your audience engaged. You want to pick a platform that is going to be good for you to host your virtual event. There are so many out there with so many options you can use. Just to name a few: Zoom, Webinar Jam, Any Meeting, StreamYard. You can use any of those platforms to be able to create your virtual event. And you want to make sure that platform is good for your audience and for what you need to do to get your information out, because there are some pros and cons with each one of those platforms. So make sure that you do your thorough research, or you make sure your planner does that research for you, to make sure that you're choosing the right platform to get your information out there or to host your virtual event. You want to choose a registration software because you want to be able to contact the people who joined you at your virtual event afterwards. You want to keep in touch with them, to let them know what's coming up next, even to get their feedback about their event. So you can use anything like Eventbrite, Cvent, Reg Online. Those registration softwares work really good. They integrate really good with a lot of the platforms that I spoke about, and they make it easier for you to pull that information and put it into your marketing software. Think about, will your event be free or will it be paid? You want to weigh the pros and cons of that, because if you're launching a product, you may want it to be free, but you may want to offer an incentive for the launch of that product, something on the back end to where you can possibly monetize on it later on. But you certainly want to decide whether you want your event to be free or you want it to be paid. Consider speakers for your event. That's what's going to make your event come to life. The people who you want to have to be a part of it. Speakers, I would say, think about people that normally you wouldn't reach out to. A lot of celebrity guests are more than willing to do virtual events now, because it takes away from them having to get their entourage. It takes away from them having to have hair and makeup and those things that normally go into a live event. So you're less likely to get someone that you're more likely to get someone who people really love and engage with at your event, because you have brought them onto your virtual event. So let's talk about how it grows your brand. Virtual events really help you create memorable experiences for your brand. People will remember the things that you did at this virtual event. They will remember that either you had this big these sound effects in the background, or you had really good graphics for your virtual event. Some things that we may not notice at in-person events, but in virtual events, remember, people are front and center and they can see everything. And especially if you have a replay, they can see it over and over again. So you want to make sure it's memorable. You also want to showcase to people who may not know your brand well. So for those who don't know your brand, this is a way to bring your brand front and center in front of them, and then they can see the things that you're doing, and hopefully, go along the journey with you as you continue to grow and you continue to build your brand up. Growing your brand, it helps grow your brand by you creating valuable content. That is going to be key when you're talking about doing a virtual event. It has to be content that is relevant and that solves a problem, gives solutions, and that people really, really want. You want to make sure your content is something that could possibly be evergreen, that you can repurpose, and that it's going to help catapult your brand into a whole new dimension where people are really looking for the things that you give out. um it helps build your email list, and I know we hear a lot about whether or not to have an email list or not. Having an email list is definitely important in your business. You want to get out to people the information that they need, that they're wanting. You're there to solve a problem or help them with a solution in their business, or even maybe even just in life. You want to be able to contact them and talk about those things that are really prevalent and that really help your brand. And most important, for to help grow your brand, you want your session to be engaging. You want to engage your audience. Do polls, possibly have them give feedback while you're in the midst of the event. You want to keep your audience engaged. Again, we talked about the distractions that come along with creating a virtual event. Cell phones, social media, all of those things can distract from your event. So you want to have high engagement so that your guests stay entertained and they stay involved. So let's talk about my favorite part of virtual events, and that is ways to monetize them. So there are so many ways you can do it. First, starting off with charging for tickets. So you could possibly charge for your virtual event if you like. I've seen virtual events range from $5 up to $200. You will have to know your audience, and you will have to consider the value of the content that you're going to put out to your audience to determine how much you would charge. And then weigh the pros and cons of charging versus not charging. You can also take from your big event and create mini sessions that you can actually monetize and market to your audience for a small price. I would say create a workbook or an ebook to go along with them so that they see the value in getting that content right then at that time, like over and over. They'll be able to access it as many times as they need. Sell all access passes. Those are super, super popular with virtual events. Again, we have distractions. We have crying babies. We have phone calls that may pop up while they're trying to view your session. Give them an option to be able to see your session after the fact, and they'll be willing to pay for it because they will have either lifetime access to it or maybe a limited time access to it. And then throw in a few extra things that come along with it as well. So you may want to have your speakers create something, say checklist, or even a book to go with it, a workbook to go with it, so that they can have something to reference after your session or that speaker session is over with. That All Access Pass gives them a way to actually be able to see it over and over, reference it, take notes, and even share it with other people if they like to. Create merchandise that correlates with your event. I've seen some guests, and I've even helped create events where we've had branded merchandise based off of maybe the hashtag for that event or a saying or even just the company names and colors. Just something so that they can remember that particular event, and it's merchandise that they can wear to help promote your brand again, and also maybe talk about what they learned at your particular event. Uh, think about selling virtual booths, vendor booths at your event. So just because you're not in person doesn't mean you have to lose all of the elements of an in-person event. You can have an area or a section where your virtual guests can go and view this secret room or this private room where you have your vendors set up. Your vendors could be in there live, like, sort of how we are here or on a Zoom, to where they can talk about their products and services and what they can offer them as well. They can shop with them and do just the same amount of things that they can do in person. So you still get that same element of dealing with the vendors, talking with the vendors, getting to know their products, but it's in a more, private area for them. And think about sponsorships. Just because your event is virtual doesn't mean that you can't have someone help you get this event going and pay for ads. So you could probably have, like, say, maybe a program guide. Of course, that would all be like in PDF form, or maybe a separate website landing page where they can get that information of the sponsors. They could sponsor certain aspects of your event, say the live streaming of it, or they can sponsor, say, certain elements of gift bags and things like that. You can still have all of the things that an in-person event has, but it's just all virtual now. You're just having it all in one place and virtually for them to view at any time. So I want to quickly recap and then talk a little bit about the services that I offer. So keep in mind that virtual events gives you the opportunity to get your information out to the masses at one time. Travel, all of those things that kind of limit in-person events are no longer there. They're simply logging into their computer, their cell phone, viewing your information, and being able to see what your brand has to offer. Remember that it exposes your brand. It can grow it, give you more visibility, taps you into an audience that you never thought about before, as well as it can grow your bank account by offering an all access pass, workbook, ebooks, and or having sponsorships. So for my services, I do offer virtual event planning services where you can hire me to take care of your event. So I have two packages. I have one package where if you just need me to come in and monitor it of that on that day, then I can definitely take care of that. So I'm monitoring your virtual chat rooms. I am making sure that your speakers are lined up and in queue to go when they need to go. I also have a full service package where I help you get vendors, I help you get speakers, and we're also day of services for your event. So I had a great time telling you about virtual events. I definitely know you will enjoy this. So now I will hand it over to Lily Mae.
There we go. So you can hear me now. Thank you so much, Lakeisha. That was great. She shared a lot of good information. So I'm just going to add to that just a bit. My name is Lily Mae. I am the creator of theglamceo.com, which is the website for the Glambitious brand. And so the purpose of the Glambitious brand is to be a one-stop shop for women entrepreneurs. So we have a variety of webinars, ebooks, money generating opportunities, partnership opportunities. We have magazine opportunities, podcast opportunities, essentially everything you could need as an entrepreneur. We have it at theglamceo.com. So definitely check my website out because there are a lot of things that will help you promote your virtual event there on the site. You can also follow me on Instagram at I am Lily Mae as printed there, or you can follow me at Glambitious IAM. And so I've also planned events around the country for the past 10 years, physical events. And so this was the first year where I had to cancel those events and pivot to virtual events. So I want to share just what I would like to call virtual event power moves, right? Things that kind of make one event stand out over the other event. And so one thing that Lakeisha touched on was having, influencers or people that are recognizable to be a part of the event. So, most people ask themselves, when they're putting an event together, who is it that people want to see or who will people pay to see? But I like to start in the reverse and ask myself, who are people tired of seeing? Because oftentimes in the space of women empowerment, we see the same faces over and over and over. So, I think it's important to think outside of the box and think, who would people love to hear from? For example, I'm a big fan of Mara Brock Akil. And so I would love to see her speaking at a virtual event. That is the type of person that would excite me, So think outside of the box and not in the scope of who we see at the events over and over and over. Offer people like a fresh face, a face that they haven't been able to see or connect with. And that is going to make your event, stand out amongst the rest. Also, just the aesthetic is extremely important. And that means the flyer design. You definitely want to make sure you hire a professional graphic designer and not use Canva for your virtual event. Like I implore you to use a professional graphic designer because people at this point can kind of tell the difference. And Canva is a great tool for basic designs, but I feel like when it comes to a virtual event, especially one that you want to monetize or one that you want to attract a lot of, attendees, you want the graphic to look amazing. There was a conference that I was a part of recently called the Build Hers Conference, and Lakeisha was a part of it as well. And one thing that excited me when I saw Lakeisha's flyer, I was like, oh my gosh, this looks great. I want to be a part of that. So the flyer, can be the difference between a person, participating as a speaker, a vendor participating as a vendor, a guest, signing up to participate. So make sure that you use a professional graphic designer and also consider doing a video commercial. I think we've kind of lost the art of that, but back, I want to say last fall, I had a really big event in Atlanta and my commercial that I had created for it had so much traction on social media and it engaged so many people to register for the event. So I definitely would encourage you to, put together a video commercial. If you need a referral for that, just email me, glambitiousmember@gmail.com, and I would happily share who I use. But I think that's going to also gather traction on social media. Speaking of social media, you want to leverage all of your pages to make your event pop. So not just Instagram, but also leverage Facebook, leverage LinkedIn, leverage YouTube. So even if you're not creating a commercial, you could hop on YouTube and talk about it and post it. Or you could do, an Instagram live where you're speaking with your guest speaker. Like let's say it's Ms. Mara Brock Akil, and you do a quick Instagram live with her just to promote the upcoming conference and repurpose that on YouTube so that network on YouTube can discover your event. You want to be creative and use all social media channels so that people see your event over and over and it builds up the excitement. And momentum is one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle when it comes to having a powerful event or an event that stands out, amongst the rest. So you want to create different creative marketing and public relations efforts that keep putting that event in front of your audience. So like I said, you could do Instagram lives with the guest speakers. you could even create flyers for the attendees. So every time someone signs up to attend it, create them a special guest flyer so that they can share it with their network and say, hey, I'm attending this expo, I'm attending this conference. That way their network learns about your event. So you definitely want to, make everyone a star that's involved, because that's what's going to help build your momentum. And you can host Facebook Lives, Instagram Lives. You also want to use your newsletter, use your email newsletter to engage people, and also use other newsletters to engage people. So for example, we have the Glambitious newsletter, and we use it to advertise our stuff, but we also allow people to pay for advertisements. And there are other, networks and women professionals that have newsletters that you can promote your event through. So definitely use a newsletter to increase the momentum. Create a daily plan of action, at least something every day that's building some momentum towards your event, whether it's posting the flyer, posting a video, posting a testimonial from your last event, posting video from your last event, just something to where people are constantly seeing your event, and not just the people that follow you, but other people in your demographic. So once you know your target demographic, you can, boost the post through Instagram. If it's a business page, that let you press boost, and you can pay so that you can, have that event reach other eyes that may not follow you. So definitely, I think using the Instagram advertise feature is really good, as well as using the Facebook advertise feature if you have that, budget, so that people outside of your network can learn about your event. Another thing I would, definitely implore you to do is make your event memorable. We're in a unique season where there aren't really any physical events going on. So you don't want to just have another virtual event, because people can kind of be in a space where they're tired of virtual events because they've seen them, they've been a part of them over and over and over. So what's going to make them excited about yours? Making it memorable. Like, do something that makes people excited, like offer a giveaway, a $500 Cash App giveaway. That would make me register for the event, and if you're saying to yourself, how am I going to come up with $500 just to give someone? You could get 5 sponsors, 5 small businesses to do $100 sponsorship for the giveaway. In exchange for that, they get to maybe present their business during the conference. They get to a spotlight in your newsletter. They get to advertise on your Instagram page. So, just getting some micro sponsorships together so that you can offer this big giveaway would definitely be attractive and make your event memorable. Maybe even put together a virtual tote bag, which includes all kinds of freebies that you can send your guests at the end so that they're excited and they have some things to download and access that are freebies. Maybe have a dance break. Me personally, I love to dance. So whenever I had a physical event, if you go to Glambitious IAM on Instagram, you will definitely see me cutting a jig, because I like to have fun at events. As you can see, my energy is high, and I like to have high energy events. So you want to make sure that the spirit and energy of your event is high. So have a DJ, come in on their, from their home and have a live DJ spin for a little bit, or have a dance break where everyone gets up and dances. You play the song and everyone gets up and dances while they're on Zoom. I think that would be fun. Consider having a karaoke break, where, someone volunteers, one of the guests volunteers to sing some of our favorite songs like Mary J. Blige or, Strumming My Pain or something like that. Like, to me, that's fun. And that's going to break up the monotony of speakers or the monotony of panelists and the monotony of virtual events that people are experiencing. So you want to do something that everyone else is not doing right now to make your event memorable and engaging. Maybe consider having a comedian come on and cut a couple of jokes up, like that would be fun to me. If I'm on a women empowerment or business conference and they have a comedian come in and make me laugh, I think that's a great idea. So maybe, bring in a comedian for a breakout session, for 10 minutes or something like that. But just something interactive, something fun, something engaging to break up the monotony of the event, so that when people see the schedule on your Eventbrite page, they're like, oh, I definitely want to go to this, because she's going to have this amazing person that I've always wanted to hear speak. She's going to do a $500 giveaway, so I might win. She's giving away these tote bags, so I'm going to get all of these goodies at the end of the event. She's having a live DJ, so it won't be boring. We're going to do a karaoke break, so I get to sing or see one of my friends up there singing. Like, this is an experience. And I think that's what's going to make your virtual event stand out from the rest, is to make it an experience. Because quite honestly, we've all seen speakers, heard speakers, panelists. We're thirsting for for knowledge, yes, but we are also human and like a little fun. You know, you got to think of the mentality and mindset of your guests. They're likely in quarantine and likely not getting, you know, a lot of entertainment. So let your event be that multifaceted experience that brings them entertainment, that brings them connection. And speaking of connection, maybe you could create a creative way for people to network while on Zoom. You know what I mean? Like, for example, hey, who needs graphic design? And then everyone who's a graphic designer types in their website. Or who needs, you know, a publicist? And everyone types in, you know, or, you know, you could offer people a chance to introduce themselves at the end. You know, it could become like a group discussion at the end of the event where people can talk and interact with each other. It's not like they see the speakers and then they leave, but they actually get to interact. So, you know, those are just a few of the ways that I feel like can make your event stand out, you know, amongst the rest. You know, one thing I miss most about physical events is the food. I'm a foodie. You can probably tell by these cheeks that I love to eat. So maybe creatively, you know, if you're charging ticket prices, maybe send people a $10 Starbucks card before the event so it could be a brunch and everyone could go grab a little latte or a little egg white wrap and then come to the event to have brunch. You know, I think themes are still exciting. So for me, my virtual events are going to be all white attire, just like my physical events. So I think it's important to still do themes. You could do a big hat brunch or a big hat luncheon or, you know, all black business meeting or, you know, like make it themed, pretty in pink, whatever. You know, people love things. People want something fun and engaging and different. And so that's what's going to make your event stand out, is if you can deliver something that's fun, that's unique, that's different, that has an energy about it. So if the flyer is A1, that's going to attract me because that has energy about it. If I look at the schedule of the event and it has all of these interactive things that's gonna, you know, happen, that's going to make me excited. And even if the energy of your event is not a high energy event, but maybe it's a holistic health event, there are still interactive things that would excite me, like, you know, yoga. We could have a yoga breakout session or a meditation session. Like those types of interactions would still excite me because it's something different, it's something engaging to offset the information. You don't just want your event to be purely informational, you want it to be engaging and exciting. So I hope that some of my energetic advice, you know, you found it to be valuable. I definitely offer speaker opportunities at my virtual event. So if you're interested in being a speaker, a panelist, or a vendor or a sponsor with one of my upcoming events, simply send me an email, glambitiousmember@gmail.com. You know, if you have an event coming up and you want to promote it, or, you know, if you have a virtual event that you're looking to reach more people and reach more eyes, we have advertising opportunities at theglamceo.com. So you can advertise through our newsletter, which has about 8,000 women on it. Our Instagram page has about 47,000 women that follow it. So, you know, we offer Instagram live interviews that let you talk about your event to our Instagram network. Just all types of creative ways to help you build some of that virtual event momentum. We definitely have. So thank you for, you know, tuning into this webinar. I look forward to hearing about your event. You know, when you put it together and you consult Lakeisha and you guys create this powerful event, please send me an invite. You know, my email again is glambitiousmember@gmail.com. You can follow me again on Instagram at I am Lily Mae or at glambitiousIAM. And I look forward to attending one of your powerful virtual events. Bye.